live. All right.
Is it on? Oh, never mind. Just kidding. It's only 1 second into it. I think it's on. Oh, it looks like it's on. All right, 7 o'clock, a little bit after.
All right, here we are at the Northern Neck January 6th Vigil. It is day 1171 since January 6, 2021. 1171. And it is March 22nd, 2024. As always, we'll start off with a brief prayer, Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, as always, please watch over the families and loved ones and anyone that's been impacted by the individuals who have been ripped out of society and are serving time for this travesty that is unfolded from January 6th. We know that many of these people trust and get strength from you, God, and it helps to get them through. And they're very, very faithful. Many of them are very faithful people, and we know that a lot of them wouldn't make it through without their belief in God. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hold it here.
So rambling on already with the prayer there, but it shows what our tiredness. We were talking about how hard you all have been working, how I haven't been sleeping well, but mostly it's just been a busy part of the spring here.
When the brain gets going.
And but there's plenty of things to talk about, and Cheryl, as always, I know you've got things to say. I just want to ask you guys, do you remember the first vigil, the date of the first vigil that you attended?
It was spring. It was probably
Spring?
It was probably
No, it was kind of cold.
It was spring.
Well, spring.
February.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple years ago.
Well, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys and the effort that you put into this, and the fact that you're here as often as you are here, which is most of the time. Only on 1 or 2 occasions have you had family commitments or holidays or something that you couldn't come. So
Yep.
It means a lot to me because it helps me stay energized and invigorated to come out here and do this. And it means a lot to the people that are impacted, and especially your letter writing and all the research that you guys do. So I just want to thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. We appreciate it. I just can't leave these guys out on the battlefield. I couldn't sleep if I stopped. And that's really, no matter how tired I get, I still got to do it. That's just the way I feel about it.
So we got the announcement, Jeffrey Sable was sentenced yesterday for 63 months, and he gets credit for 38 months. So that he was thinking that that's about what he would get. He was hoping for a little bit less, but whatever.
Can you repeat it?
He was sentenced yesterday for 63 months. He got credit for 38 months for already being in jail. I don't know about Andrew Taki. He's supposed to be being sentenced on March 26th, but news say that it might be pushed to April 1st, so we got to keep checking the court documents to see if that's changed or not, or maybe we'll hear something this week. That's about it. I mean, we have people who moved on to different prisons. Mark Brew is in Oklahoma City, and Brandon Fellows is in Philadelphia. Ron Maccabee is in Philadelphia. Jacob Circles in Philadelphia, so there's gonna be a party there, I guess.
At least they're all together.
Cheryl, don't we have Taylor Jonatakis coming up in April, early April?
April 3rd. And he's still on, as of today, he's still on here.
Sorry.
Things.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or do some of these guys not get credit for time served? Seems like there's a number of them that haven't gotten credit.
I think they've gotten credit, but I think also, I don't know, that's a really good question, but I know there's some that have actually served longer than they were sentenced, and I don't think they've gotten credit, you know, so that's a really great question.
Yeah.
It never works in the defendant's favor.
Well, speaking of that, one of the things I wanted to talk about, I did not get to print out an article on it, but I know I read earlier in the week that with the upcoming Supreme Court case of Fisher versus U.S. over the 1512C charges, that the Department of Justice has already told some of these folks that if 1512C gets thrown out, they'll up the other charge, go back and ask for extended sentences for the other charges that were already adjudicated or sentenced upon. Now, what does that tell you? The Department of Justice doesn't seem to play by any rules, not even their own.
Do they have any? That's absurd. That's just absolutely absurd. My patience is growing thin. Actually, it wore thin a long time ago.
Well, I do think that that's a really critical Supreme Court decision. There have been a couple of them happening so far this week, ongoing. I encourage everybody, just go on to the Supreme Court of the United States, SCOTUS website, you look up their schedules, you can see what's going on. I've got them printed out here. I guess I can read what's coming up, but there were a couple this week that I could not get to. I haven't been to one yet, but I plan to go shortly. But there was a case earlier in the week with NRA, that was Monday. There's two cases today, basically. The Supreme Court's term that we're in right now is the October 2023 term. And then they have probably a dozen hearings that they have in March, and then they have another dozen or so in April. So the March session is where we're at, beginning March 18th. There were two cases on Monday, one of them being the NRA. There was a case that was on Wednesday, Gonzalez versus Trevino, and that one, I think I might have talked about that last time, but very interesting how the background on this. A 72-year-old councilwoman who organized a petition criticizing a city manager and unwittingly placed the petition in her binder during a council meeting. 2 months later, the respondent's allies engineered her arrest for tampering with a government record. I'm really interested to find out what's going on with that. Got to search it. I haven't looked, but yeah.
I was just looking at that one the other day, and the storyline is, you almost got to wonder if you were a Supreme Court judge, would you feel like you were babysitting children? I mean, this case that you just mentioned is absolutely absurd.
It is absurd. Yeah.
So several of them have been, I think, and which is nice to see that there's been some pushback from the Supreme Court on some of these things. So again, April 16th, everybody, Fisher v. United States, and that is going to be the hearing on whether the 1512C charge, which is the Enron era charge for banking executives, accounting executives who were destroying documents while they were under investigation from Congress. So thereby, they were in contempt of Congress, who was investigating them. And so they hit them with a 20-year felony for that charge, because they wanted to make a lesson. They wanted to make a very serious point with it. Don't don't shred documents when you're under investigation. So what did the DOJ do? They went and figured out a way to use the wording to apply it to the January 6th event and say that people that were parading through the Capitol were interrupting an official proceeding. So it's a total bastardization of the intent of the law.
You know, I'm kind of guilty of not doing appropriate diligence on the wording of the law in question. Because we all shorthand it, we say interfering with a government proceeding, but what are the real words in that law? I'll bet they totally stretched it, and this is going to be a no-brainer for the government, or for the Supreme Court, saying, no, that's not what this says. You've inappropriately charged these people because the law is clearly written that you didn't get to do that. So I kind of feel bad that I haven't read word for word that particular law. But I don't think it's as simple as just saying interfering with a government proceeding. I think when they created that law back in the Enron days, because they had their accountant who wasn't accountable, believe it or not, shredding documents, that the verbiage of the law isn't going to be so broad initially that it's going to be extended to other contexts. That just doesn't make sense to me. So I gotta go back and actually read that law.
Well, Maurice, I'm glad you bring that up, because again, it's just go to the Supreme Court, look up the cases. Right here you'll get a page that has them listed on the calendar, and that each of the beginning of the titles has a link you can click on. It takes you right to the entire case, to the docket, or the brief for the petitioner, and it's very easy to do and find out. Just like Cheryl, you've got the sentencing guidelines, or the sentencing calendar from the DOJ. Again, very simple to go to the U.S., it's the actual U.S. District Court, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, so it's just
Search the sentencing.
search sentencing. So here's the Supreme Court documentation, what it looks like when you go to their calendar page on Supreme Court. And each of these headings has, above my thumb there's a little clickable link, and it brings you into all the documents that you would need to understand the case. So I wanted to do maybe a little bit of a departure from our normal tradition of reading the roster, even though I think that's important. I'm never really quite sure if we have all of the people that went through J6 on here. I still need to work on that. I want to get somebody who's inside the gulag to help us with it. So it's on my to-do list. But anyway, if we get to that, we will. But I wanted to also remind everybody, go to the NPR website, where you can quickly and easily see a weekly updated every Friday evening. They update this, and it tells you the most recent updates for who's been arrested new and what's changed in particular people's cases. So right now, according to the NPR website, again, just go to a search engine, NPR J6, there have been 1,340 people charged. Cheryl, I was going to do a quick look back and see how many that's different from last week, but I didn't get a chance to do it. But I do want to do this much. I want to read the names that are the new ones that have been arrested in the last week. First of all, Isabella Maria DeLuca, 24 years old, from Setauket, New York. And I won't go into the details, but people can look that up on NPR. Timothy Finnegan, no background information on him. He was arrested on March 21st, 2024 in Branchburg, New Jersey. His charges are the usual. Nolan Freeman, 34 years old, from Dayton, Nevada. Usual charges. Amy Nicole Gordon, 40 years old, from Greenville, Indiana. She was arrested March 19th in New Albany, Indiana. Justin Daniel, my page cut off. Sorry, Justin. Oh, Justin Daniel Peru, sorry. Yes, there we go. Justin Daniel Peru. He is a 44-year-old from Charleston, South Carolina. He's accused of forcefully yanking on a police officer's helmet face shield, then later throwing something. Thomas Pooler Jr. of Florida. Angel Villanueva from Florida. He and Thomas Pooler drove from Florida together. And those are the new ones. So what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 7, I believe, since last week. So,
You know, you would think that with all these guys attacking police officers with bicycle racks, pulling their helmets, and all of this, that there would have been a few more fallen police officers, but there weren't, were there? Kind of tongue in cheek a little bit. But.
I get it. I mean, but remember, that's the part of the point we talked about too, that they were set up, the police were set up with the whole helmet collection thing, and they had bike helmets, a lot of them, because they didn't have their normal helmets.
Right. And there's a video out there, and you can hear Metro Police screaming at each other as they show up, and they're all saying, "Holy Christ, we've been set up."
Yeah.
They say it out loud on video. So it's, the whole thing's coming unraveled. I'm really glad Nikki got her phone call.
Well, tell everybody about the phone call. Perfect phone call.
The perfect phone call. She got a phone call from our president. I don't want to go into details on what was said because it was a perfect phone call.
Just that.
I don't want to mess with perfection, if you know what I'm saying.
That's our embellishment there on the perfect part, but anyway, so I don't know
He
anything
just
about
told her that when he gets back into office in January of 2025, that he will be working on, on day one, releasing the J6ers. He's probably already looking into their cases. So it's gonna be all ready.
I think it was yesterday I saw a post online that was talking about the milestones that are left to go until Inauguration Day. Then there's Inauguration Day, and you know, when you sit down and think about it, yes, it's obvious we have less than a year because January of 24 is already behind us. But when you think about it in terms of days, we don't have a whole lot of time. We don't have a lot of time to waste fooling around. We don't have a lot of time to waste arguing with each other online. We don't have a lot of time to waste at all. There's a lot of work to be done. And we need to get to it if we aren't already.
And you're talking about getting active with taking back our election, right?
Taking back the elections, making sure that bad things don't happen, not being stupid about it, breathing down the necks of our existing elected officials, holding the people that are responsible for ensuring the integrity of the vote do exactly that. Here's the metric. If you want to know how healthy we're doing, look at Maricopa County. If you feel comfortable with Maricopa, chances are we're going to do okay. But if you don't, you understand the problem.
I know I watched early on in November of 2020, and I watched what was going on in Maricopa, and there were people out there like trailblazers, bloggers, who never had done a thing like that before, but they had seen what was going on, and they started to sit down in a chair in front of a camera and talking about what they saw and what was going on. And you know, that has been consistent from the beginning, and I think that's what's going to come out with all of this in the end. But this dance that we're going through right now with the DOJ, with the Supreme Court case, with these additional picking up people, I want to dig into these latest cases a little bit, and we talk about all the time helping to support the J6ers. The one thing these people have going for them that many of them don't even know it is that there's already been people that have blazed the trail, legal advice, support, you know, just how to handle themselves. Think about Robert Morse's, you know, code of ethics. All the things that have been put in place by the people who went before them is out there, and we need to make sure that they are aware of that.
It is no longer the road less traveled.
Unfortunately.
Sadly, but that is totally true. But it's good, and a year or so ago at another vigil, I pointed out that their unity is incredible. It's their major strength, and in fact, at the time I called it their weapon, and it has worked. If you pay attention to these vigils everywhere, their spirits, their morale, at least outwardly, appears to be really great. They're not idiots. And they're showing the whole world that there's decent people being wrongfully detained. And they're doing it intelligently. They're educating every time they get on the phone. So to me, this is awesome because we've never seen that in this country before. Never in our history have we had prisoners get a platform so bold to be able to reach out the way they have. And my hat goes off to everybody that attends and manages and works vigils anywhere that it's happening. More is better, but hey, we'll take what we've got.
That's a great point, and we need more of them. We need more of these vigils. There's plenty of people that are able to do it. It's just, I don't know. I think there's something about these new folks. I think this is like the new class. It's the you know, it's the freshman class of incarcerated, you know, political prisoners. So we've got to figure out how to really get some help to those folks.
It is. It's the junior varsity team coming up, and hopefully some of the varsities are still around to show them the ropes. And we'll be doing that.
So think of the odds of the mix of the roughly 1,200 people or so on that were, you know, early on arrested, and I guess I have the graph right here. I could look at it, but the caliber of the people that we've interacted with here at the Northern Neck Regional Jail in the Northern Neck, the 60 plus people that have come through there, the Barry Ramies, the Robert Morses, the Jeffrey Sills, the on and on and on, the list goes on, of the people that that we spoke to, and the quality, the caliber of their just humanity. And these are some of the top people in the country. I think the odds are pretty good that these other people they're rounding up for walking through the Capitol might just have some of those same characteristics.
I'd like to believe that. In fact, I see no reason to doubt it. One of the names that comes to mind is Jonathan Manafo, who has got to be one of the most gentle creatures you'd ever want to talk to. There isn't a harsh bone in this man's body, and yet he finds himself behind bars in a BOP facility. It's just incredible.
So it's great you brought him up. So Jonathan actually helps guide me when I want to divide the left to the right or the this to the that, and he's one of those people that, for him, it's more of true versus false, or good versus bad or something. But several of these guys, I think Barry Ramey as well, had reminded us during the vigils that we need to keep an open mind to people, that not everybody is on the same point in their journey. And you can apply that to just about any conversation, any argument, any disagreement or misunderstanding, or even awareness. Not everybody is on the same point. As we know, most people that are consumed by mainstream media just have no idea. So you're going to say something, and I have a follow-up, but go ahead.
Well, it kind of strikes me that here we are recalling the events and the material that we absorbed in vigils that have happened over a year ago. Well, that in and of itself is kind of significant because it's like a TV show. You either remember it or you don't. These events are significant. They stick in your memory. The words that these men say, they're significant. They have meaning. And if you don't get to carry them with you, you probably weren't paying attention, but it's impressive.
I agree, and I want to make sure Cheryl has time to give us the updates. Do you have updates, or no? You already did. Here's what I was going to say next while you're thinking about it, is I want to start polling people on the street whether they know anything about J6, because I'm afraid at this point, if you don't know something about it already, a lot of them just won't.
There was a couple of things. I don't know if anybody watches the vigils in DC, but on St. Patrick's Day, which was March 17th, the J6ers were singing several St. Patrick's Day songs, and they were really incredible. And if you know how to get to it, go to Sapphire Patriot YouTube, and you could watch it. It's March 17th, and there are two songs that they sang. One of them was Wild Rover, and the other one was the Wellerman song.
What was the second one?
Wellerman.
Well,
It was really nice.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $37.82. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello from Northern Neck.
What's going on, Northern Neck Patriots? How are you today?
Hey, we're all right. How you, Chris?
I'm all right. I would like to say, I'm sure you guys already know, that the marshals did come in today for a brief walkthrough. I don't think it was a friendly visit. I think that they were told to come in. And I think some people were told, you got to answer for some things. I did speak with a nice gentleman. I'm trying to find my notes here. Can't find him. He was the deputy marshal in charge, or head marshal in charge, or I don't know, something. Very nice gentleman. And I started going down, hey, listen, this is this, and this is that, and this is this. And then another gentleman came by, and I said, listen, you guys might think I'm, the biggest, POS out there. I said, and that's fine, right? I'm still an American. And I said, whether we agree and you agree and, whatever. I said, January 6th behind this, I said, rights are rights, and right is right and wrong is wrong. And what you say, what we're supposed to get as pretrial detainees, we are not getting. And we're not getting it here. Plain and simple. And he said, well, can you please give me some examples? I said, sure. Let's talk about my knee. He goes, yeah. I said, I have a brace on right now. I said, but it's not the medical brace that I'm supposed to have. I said, I said, look, here's a grievance. 8/3/23. I have not seen a doctor for my knee, even though the hospital said I need an MRI and see the specialist immediately. Okay, fast forward. I said, here you go. I said, the in-house chronic care doctor said I probably don't need surgery. And I went through everything. I said, I referenced other IGPs, and I said, listen, you guys are supposed to follow up on my knee, my finger. I showed him my finger. I said, listen, I broke my finger. I was basically attacked. I said, well, I was attacked, but I said, I was attacked. I said, the guy should have never been here to begin with. I said, that's another story. I said, I'm talking about my knee. I said, instead of responding, they sent me to the orthopedic. So I said, so here, your doctor is saying I probably don't need surgery. My wife's an RN. I have friends that are doctors, that are surgeons. That's not their call to make. I know it's not their call to make. I baited them. And guess what they answered? Oh, seen at orthopedics on 2/7/24, scheduled for surgery per the recommendation of the provider. I said, so the provider tells me, hey, you need surgery. Who are you, Marshall, to deny it? I already had surgery on this meniscus. My meniscus was perfect. Okay, I was doing one-legged squats before I got hurt. My knee was twice its size for 6 months. This is crazy. This shouldn't happen. He says, I agree. He goes, what about your finger? I said, well, I was attacked. I said, well, let's look at this. And I'm flipping through this, basically a filing, you get them at, Staples or whatever, and they're brown, basically, file holders.
Right.
And they're accordion file holders. So they're cheapo file holders, right? This is what we're allowed in jail. So I'm flipping through, and you go past, you see the one that's the deliberate indifference, and you see the one that's listed at Marshall's detainee rights and DOC violations. You see the one going through the laptops. Oh, safety. Okay, here it is. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hold on. And I flipped through it, and I said, wait. I know it's here. Oh, well, here's an anonymous, IGP written by that guy right over there. I said, and he wrote this. This guy should have never been in this pod to begin with. It was talked to by our case manager. It was talked to by this person, talked to by that person. This guy should have never been in here. Hold on, wait. There was IGPs written before. I said before he even got here and after, because we knew he was on his way here because he left Lewisburg. I said, so now he's been removed. He's up in Brooklyn. He goes, oh, that guy, okay. So I said, this should have never happened. I said, guess what? I still haven't gotten any, they gave me an x-ray. I said, I still can't bend my finger. I said, this is crazy. I said, well, let's talk about the laptops. Let's talk about discovery. I said, I pled guilty to 14 charges. I'm facing 15 to 17 and a half years now. I said, I pled guilty, basically, because I listened to my stupid lawyer, and she gave me horrible advice. But I pled guilty, but guess what? Now I'm reneging it. Because you know what? I want trial. Whether I'm guiltier than sin or innocent as anything. I said, I want trial. I don't care at this point. You know, you guys have shipped me around from jail to jail to jail. I said, I went from I was up in Essex. I had a good guy. I was about to get on detail, like real detail, in the kitchen staff. I was about to be able to pick my own food every day I wanted, working 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever I wanted. I said I could have picked my own food every day. I said my family was up there. I said the judge said he wanted me down here, and so did, and the prosecution said that this jail could handle my diet. I said, I have food allergies. He goes, it's documented? I go, oh, it's documented. I said, okay, well, what, you're not getting fed properly? I said, I haven't been fed properly in 3 years. I said, this right here is on food. I said, this isn't all of them. I said, this is just the past year. And he goes, this is crazy. He goes, and I have to admire your he said, this doesn't happen, not with this, type of, order to it kind of a thing. I said, oh, I've been doing this for a year. I said, this is what you guys made me do.
He admired you.
All I wanted to do was work on my case. What's that?
He admired your record keeping.
Yeah. I was, he said, no one keeps records like this. I said, I do.
Right.
I used to run multi-million-dollar electrical jobs before this. I very, very early I found out that the paperwork is more important than the actual job.
Right.
It's true. That's how crazy it is. I mean, I said once I gave away a $33,000 extra. I said I'll never do that again because someone didn't sign a piece of paper. And I did. I gave away at 30, and those were the kinds of jobs. It was all it was a kitchen. There was never any detail to it. So instead of one home run and 4 outlets, it became this detailed thing. And I got the guy. I thought he signed it, and he didn't. And we did the work. He gave the go ahead. We did the work, and he never paid us for it. They all of a sudden these extras went through to a certain point, and the owner of the general contracting company said, no more extras, no more, we're done. Well, that was already done, so, we got beat on. So it is what it is. Now, I didn't lose my job or anything because we did great on the job. And, we made it up in other spots, but, it would have been nice to get another $33,000 of, extras.
Right, so
Now,
that's a lesson,
it's-
that's a lesson that you learned, that you carried with you for life, and it's paying you back now. I was just
Absolutely.
saying this earlier, Chris, just real quick, about the quality and the caliber of the individuals that we've gotten to know over the last several years in these phone calls and through correspondence and everything with them. You guys are not just run-of-the-mill people. You guys are successful, hardworking, patriotic people, and you know your stuff, right? And you're not. And, so,
Yeah.
and I think that the ones they're picking up every day in, day out, continue, are probably going to fall in the same area of the chart as you guys do. So I hope that we can help them, and I know you guys will when you can. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out. Thanks, Chris.
Absolutely. And it's because of you guys that we have a voice. So I talked to them about, the inability to send, and I know I'm going over a lot of this. I've gone over it time and time again, but this is important. And, I went over the inability to send pro se documents. I said, I've been trying to send this document. They said, who's your judge? I said, Judge McFadden. He goes, oh, you're him. They knew. So, of course, I got, by the way, Sean Johnson, thank you so much for your work. I know we talked about this earlier, but now that the prosecutor put quote-unquote crazy things that Cleveland said on the vigil and added it to the record, thank you very much, because now you just opened up the door to everything that I said on the vigil. Everything, which talks about, I'm going to bring up every single phone call. I'm going to talk about every single phone call from Northern Neck. I'm going to bring up every single phone call from DC. Now, everything's able to be added on the record because she added, hey, Cleveland said, a real insurrection would have been 100,000 people with long guns walking down Constitution Avenue. Well, it would have been. I'm not saying I'm not saying I planned that or anything about me. But thank you very much for doing what I thought you were going to do. By the way, on March 18th, the piece of certified, my first and only piece of certified letter, that took 13 days to send out, finally got delivered to the judge. And now it's the 22nd? Right. So I don't think it's a coincidence that all of a sudden the marshals decide to show up. But we went into safety, we went into my knee, we went into medical, we went into the inability to send pro se documents, we went into the laptop situation, we went in that we need a word, and they go, well, you have a tablet. I said, whoa, there's no word processor on here. I said, I said, we got pro se guys here. I said, I'm not your average run-of-the-mill, whatever. I said, I want to write something and then give it to my lawyer and have them finish it up. Do you know how much money that will save me? I said, I still don't have evidence.com. Still don't have it. Like 3 years later, I still don't have evidence.com. I said, do you want to see the grievances on that? And he said, listen, like I said, another gentleman came over and heard this whole thing, and I backed everything up. I said, we don't have access to law library. I don't care what the jail says or what other judges say. We don't have it. We have a law library on this tablet. I said, that's not the same as going down to the law library and talking with I'm not a licensed librarian, but I'm sure she has a master's. To be a librarian, you need a master's. I know my aunt's a librarian.
Yes.
She has her master's. It's crazy. These people make like $45,000, $55,000, $65,000 a year, and you need a master's degree for it. It's crazy, but they do. So I said, so I want to, and she, you know, what does she do? She deals with law. That's what she does. I said, so my lawyer's been denied access. They said because I have it on the record multiple times, that they said that I refuse to wear a mask. Guess what? I want to see that video of me refusing to wear a mask. Because I paid for my lawyer to come up here from Florida, paid to have her stay in an Airbnb, and then you're going to say, oh, well, I'm going to refuse to wear a mask? Listen, whether I agree with wearing a mask or not, that's insane.
True story.
That's absolutely insane. I said, either I am the biggest mastermind of January 6th ever, and this whole thing was like, you know what? I really did want to divorce my wife and abandon my kid for 3 years.
Right.
That was my master plan. Come on.
Right.
What, are you serious right now?
Wow.
So I said, this is crazy. I said, this is insane. I said, I can't, this process shouldn't be like this.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Anyway, guys, I do have a new lawyer. She's a fighter. She's already gotten a couple people home on bond. Same charges as me. Not quite the same situation as me, but she swears up and down she's going to fight like hell for me. At this point, I don't know what else to do. Please donate if you can. I literally have like $500 in my Gifts and Go now because I just gave my last 10 grand to her. And I don't know where the rest of it's coming from because we're broke. Giftsandgo.com / persecuted patriot. Giftsandgo / persecuted patriot. So thank you guys very, very much. Thank you guys for giving us a voice. Sherry Pitts and Tom, both of you guys, I love you. I called you guys a couple times, Tom, and I don't know if you got having issues with my phone. Sorry about everything that's going on personally. I won't get into it on live, but
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
I'm really glad he's got a new attorney, and it sounds like he's pretty excited about it. I wanted to ask him, it sounded like he presented himself quite well to the marshals and got their attention. I wanted to find out what he felt was the vibe of next steps, but I didn't get to it.
I wanted to ask him if, and I would only ask this because I suspect it's true. If they went to DC, they also went elsewhere. In other words, I suspect that with all the points that he makes in the 24 or 27 page document, there's enough to go around for a number of places. And with that said, I would imagine that if the marshals got wind of it, they're probably going to want to take a closer look than what they've usually taken. And I can't imagine that they didn't send a couple of marshals down here to start asking some painful questions.
This is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse, your current balance is $36.11. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello from
hello, how's it going tonight?
Hey Taylor, good.
Hi.
Yeah, how you doing?
Excuse me, let me clear my throat. I'm doing excellent, thank you. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. It's that springtime of the year. Everybody's out working outside trying to get things done, and we're a little tired, but we're happy to be here and listening to you guys.
Oh, I wish I could be outside getting things done. My wife was saying something about she was jealous of all the time I have to read. I was like, I'm jealous of all the time you have with the kids.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's been
It's been crazy. I'm coming up on 4 months here, getting ready for sentencing in a week and a half. And I'm excited. I'm excited to kind of see where this all goes. And I'm excited to see the judge again and say hi to my friends, the prosecutors. They're doing their best to rack up some wins. So.
You got 100% success rate.
I like your attitude, your positive attitude for sure. Yeah.
Well, I do believe that the die, in some ways, the die is cast on some of this, right? There's only so much you're going to be able to do with what we know, what we've seen, 900 convictions, plea deals, et cetera, 1,300 defendants. They've got a pretty good idea of what they're going to do. And I don't know if I've ever shared this. I doubt I've shared this with you guys before, but there's an old parable called Death in Tehran. And it goes something like this. A rich and mighty Persian was walking in his, a rich and mighty Persian once walked in his garden with one of his servants. The servant cried that he had just encountered death, who had threatened him. He begged his master to give him his fastest horse so that he could make haste and flee to Tehran, which he could reach that same evening. The master consented, and the servant galloped off on the horse. On returning to his house, the master himself met death and questioned him. Why did you terrify and threaten my servant? I did not threaten him. I only showed surprise in still finding him here when I had planned to meet him tonight in Tehran, said Death. And that parable actually comes out of, or that story actually comes out of Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning. And, one of the things that when I first got in here, I read the book a long time ago in college. And when I first got in here, I saw it on the shelf. I was like, that's a book I gotta read. And one of the other big takeaways in that book is everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. And I've been a big believer of that my entire life, really. You guys remember the piece I wrote about happiness as a choice. Yes. And I think it's behooving on all of us to find the joy in the journey, to try to look at every situation with optimism. And, we can come up with all kinds of coping mechanisms. Are we being taught lessons? Are we experiencing the hardships in life so that we can experience, so that we know what's easy? That God loves dichotomy. He loves the contrast of things. In this tapestry of life that he's building, he needs the thread to be all different colors. He needs the black, he needs the white, he needs the red, he needs the purple, he needs the orange, just like what I'm wearing now, to go along with the green. He needs a little bit of everything, and that if we just, for a moment, take a step back and stop saying things are happening to me, but rather I'm happening to them, then we start to take control of our outlook. And once you take control of your outlook, then you control your own joy. And that's kind of being here in jail. There's a lot of, this is oppressive, this is very difficult, but having been in here, it's giving me a whole different perspective on other people who go through this experience, and when we should send people to prison and when we shouldn't, et cetera, et cetera. I would have never been able to experience this on the outside. And I think there's a lot of Americans who have been convinced to be shameful of their prison or jail experience. And, but how did we get to the point in America where we have 1 out of 31 adults that are under the supervision of the Department of Corrections? How do we get to a point in America where 1 out of 28 children has a parent that's incarcerated? How did we get to this point? Right? Well, being one of the people that never thought twice about it and just figured the bad guys are the ones that get locked up and the good guys are the ones that stay free, I'm looking at this going, hey, hold on a second here. We've created a little bit of a monster. And so I get to choose how I perceive it, but also I get to choose the future. Good things will happen because of this, even if it meant that we had to go through some suffering, which I like to not suffer, but I like to endure these kind of challenges and trials in life.
That's very, very well put. And I think part of the problem, though, is we expected that the Department of Justice and our criminal justice system actually have meaning for the word justice. And I think because we were looking the other way, we find that that's not the case.
Yeah, and I think it goes even deeper than that. There's a phrase that I've actually repeated twice now today, which I've said it 1,000 times. Someone said it to me years ago, and I remember it all the time. Everybody's rational in their own minds, right? Have we stopped for 1 second to believe that the people that are prosecuting us actually believe that we're domestic terrorists? Do we really believe that they're just doing this to us because we're good guys and they want, they're evil? Well, I know some people believe that, but my opinion is they actually think that January 6th was the largest attack on democracy since the Civil War. It's up for debate as to if that is the case or not. But at the end of the day, right, they think they're doing what's right. They think that what they're doing is justice. And, how do you set the record straight? Well, the best revenge is a life well lived. The best thing we can do is reply with love instead of reply with hate and fear, and that'll change their outlook. That's the only way to do it. But if you reply with what we perceive as hate, right, and with fear of a violent domestic extremist, with just those very actions that would cause them to justify their position, then we're going to get more of this. But if we reply with love and say, hey, I made a mistake. That was my tack in my trial. When I stood in front of the officers, I didn't try to impeach their character. I didn't try to go over their disciplinary reports. I didn't try to, discredit their testimony. I asked some simple questions. Did I hurt, harm, injure, or threaten you in any way? In my case, all the officers that showed up at my trial said, no, you didn't. Okay. Do you accept my sincere and heartfelt apology for my role in the events that day? I'm not there. I mean, we can talk all day long about what led up to J6 and all that kind of stuff. Do you accept my sincere and heartfelt apology? Yeah, I do, man. Thank you very much. It's water under the bridge, one of them said. Yeah, thank you very much. We're good, man. No big deal. Thank you. And one of them gave me a thumbs up as he walked out of the courtroom, because I was probably the first defendant that was like, hey, man, sorry about that day, right? And the prosecution, of course, was objecting to all of this. They couldn't believe I was apologizing to these people. But, hey, listen, my right as a man is to confront the witnesses against me. If I cause these people hurt, harm, injury, or threat, or injury, the election has nothing to do with that. Does that make sense? If I've caused one of my brothers or sisters to be injured, then I need to go make right with them, and that was my intention in the courtroom. And I was able to do that. So for me, when I sleep at night, I don't worry about having assaulted an officer. I've been charged with that. Yes, I was convicted of that. But I know that the officers that were brought to trial with me, they accepted my apology and said that I didn't hurt, harm, injure, or threaten them. How different would it be if everybody had that attitude? Man, what happened that day happened. Sorry. What can we do to make it right? Right? That to me, now I'm not saying everybody, everybody's going to do their own thing, but when we reply with love and less fear, then we take back a lot of our own power and our own control to determine how the outcome of all of this is going to be. I want to live. I don't want to live my life with a rearview mirror. I want to always be looking forward on the road and live my life with no regrets. And so when I make mistakes, I have to own them, because that's just a part of the journey and away we go.
So Taylor, this is Maurice Johnson. Tom,
yeah,
sitting over there. So you mentioned, that yes, absolutely, people do believe that y'all are terrorists. But one of the things that mind exercises, and I actually speak to it often, and the context is different with different people, but why do people think that? And how do we, and should we, bother to dismantle or attempt to dismantle the how they came to believe that particular untruth?
Well, first and foremost, the biggest thing is mass media, right? The mainstream media has become what we would call propaganda today. They're pushing out certain narratives. Those narratives are financed through advertising. Those narratives are also planted by government actors and entities. They admitted to us that they were doing Mockingbird Media, but they never told us they stopped. So, take it for what it is, right? So yeah, there is a little bit of that. But remember, we set up this government, and we told this government to do X, Y, Z, and this government thinks they're doing X, Y, Z, right? And so it's behooving for us to now hold that government accountable and go, hey, hold on, this isn't what we meant by X, Y, Z. Let's delete the X, right? Or we want these different objectives. And when people, one of the things that happens, I have a degree in political science, so I sat down at round tables with my fellow classmates in college, and there were some communists. Hey, you know what? The best way for everybody to be happy and for everybody to have a loaf of bread is communism. We need to share in the resources and the distribution of resources, and on paper, communism looks great. What do you say we give it a try? Well, if you're an avowed communist, for all the right reasons, by the way, because you want your brothers and sisters to be fed, because you want everybody to have a chance. Those are all noble reasons. then you think that democracy is your enemy, or you might use democracy as your cover word, but you think that a republic is an enemy. You think that private property is your enemy. So you're going to go to war with the thing that you think is bad. Now, if you're on the other side of the table and you believe in capitalism, laissez-faire capitalism, and you believe collectivism is bad, right, then you're going to go to war with people that you think are communists because they got bad ideas. So you have to step back for a second and go, hold on, my neighbor is not my enemy. Their ideas, we can argue about them, we can debate them, we can use example, we can use history. That's the education. Education endears you to people. But when you argue with them and when you fight with them and you tell them they're wrong, that's when you have a problem. So for me, my attitude is, look, if you're going to call me a domestic terrorist, okay, well, I accept the criticism. Can I prove you wrong by showing you that I'm not? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything in my life that makes you think that? Oh, well, you're going to get down to whatever it is that they think, and that's what you want to find. You want to find the common denominator, and then you want to find where you veer off from that common denominator. We're all brothers and sisters in some way or another. We're all from dust we come to dust we go, no matter whether you're Christian, Buddhist, whatever. Look, we all have red blood, we all sweat, we all have to work for our food. You know what I mean? We're all going to go through this life, whether we like it or not. So we have that commonality. Okay, well, that's our common denominator. Okay, why are we being tribal? What does it serve us, right? Let's figure it out. And it's every individual, as you do that, you'll be able to break bread with anybody. And hopefully come away with a friend instead of an enemy. Why do people think we're domestic terrorists? I don't know. Because they saw TV. So how do you dispel that myth? Well, they can get to know you. They can get to know you. They can get to know me. And pretty soon they're just going to see their neighbor.
And I get back.
Don't be the thing. Don't be the thing you hate. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they accuse you to be a domestic terrorist, well, then don't be.
Right, exactly.
And the best way to start with that is stop arguing with them, right? Because that's what domestic terrorists are doing. They're arguing over the course of whatever. I mean, those are big words. Domestic terrorism, that's a really big one. But just don't be the thing. Don't be the thing you hate.
That's an amazing point that you just made there. Often I think about the news media that you mentioned, and I think that sometimes people without appropriate discernment, maybe I shouldn't critique that, but they lack the ability to see that they're being spoon-fed, literally told what to think. And that's a tough nut to
you know
crack.
what? I often think of this. If you look into the example of the Bible, right, you've got Paul, the great apostle Paul, right, who wrote all these wonderful letters and really defined for us what it meant to be a Christian and all these different things. But we would have never had Paul if we didn't have Saul, the persecutor of the Christians. He was just as zealous a persecutor of the Christians, a man who arranged the stoning of Christians. But once he was convicted of the living Christ, he became the greatest apostle and the greatest salesman for Christianity the world's ever known. But it took that zealotry of Saul to be converted to the other side. Does that make sense? Some of our greatest advocates, when this is all over, might be our very prosecutors. It might be that
You have 1 minute remaining.
are throwing us in the dungeon and locking away the key. My heart's open for them to do the right thing. And I'm not even going to tell them what the right thing is. God will tell them what it is. That's who they took their oath to. Right? So I'm looking for zealous people. And when we all get on the same page with education, facts, knowledge, truth, then I trust that these people are rational in their own minds and will make the right decisions. I have to. That's the world I want to live in, so that's the world I'm going to project outwards. Thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate the chance to get on here and talk with you. And, I hope everybody just remembers, be the change you want to see in the world. Don't be the thing you hate. Be the thing you love. Radiate outward, and things will start to change. As always, you can help my family. They do need the help. GibsonGo.com/John Family Help. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night. So,
On the live stream, I was looking at, someone asked, who is that speaking? And I see an entry from,
Thank you for using Global Telling.
I see an entry from, I'm sorry, I've just
Peasant's
lost it.
Perspective.
Peasant's Perspective. That's my dad. I wanted to tell him that. So anyway, thanks for being on there, y'all, and listening. Everybody who's tuned in, thank you so much. Everybody's comments are exactly spot on with our mood and our feeling tonight, which is this is so important for these guys to get their voices out, And that's why we're here, and that's why we do it. So thank you, everybody. Please spread this around, and let's get their voices heard.
By the way, I just got a letter from,
I just got a letter from Taylor yesterday, and so if you're still listening, watching, I just got a very nice letter from your dad. So thank you.
Taylor's always an interesting guy.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love that point that he makes. Education versus arguing. That's a fork in the road for a lot of people. You know, if you spend any time in your day scrolling through social media, you see an awful lot of people arguing. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't have time for arguing. We really don't. It's a waste of mental energy. It's bad, and usually what the point of the argument really is irrelevant to what's going on in the world today. So folks need to back up, like Taylor says, back up a little bit, figure out what you got in common, because nobody sees the same blue sky as you, and just give it some space.
Well, even what Chris was talking about to begin with, which was he's making a connection with these marshals that they're going, wait a minute, this is the guy that's supposedly crazy. He's not crazy. He's a little intense, and he's very, very anal, and got great record keeping like we've never seen, but he's definitely not crazy, you know?
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what I really like this theme that we're on here, because that's what we need. We need these people to finally, we talk about how the rank and file people in FBI, and probably DOJ and other places, though I've heard people say that many of those are probably a little bit more extreme than we thought, but that there's a lot of folks that they're just going on what they've been told and fed from the mainstream media.
And really, that's a problem, and I would encourage anybody that has the wherewithal to assemble just a small topic and start talking to it on social media. Put the truth out there, because there's a lot of disinformation and bad understandings of basic topics. The Constitution's full of them, because I see a whole lot of stuff out there, people talking about things that simply cannot be. They cannot be. If the Constitution lives, the other points can't coexist with the Constitution. So find a topic and start putting out your knowledge. Do the education part. Anyways.
I just was noticing from last week, we talked to a couple folks. James Grant, whose sentence is on June 13th. Is that what you have, Cheryl?
June 13th, yes.
June 13th for James Grant, and then
Another one on the 13th. Who was that?
on June 13th?
I think there's two on June 13th.
Ryan Sampson.
Okay, Ryan. Yeah, I guess I didn't get that down. And then David Geetson, we spoke to, his sentence is April 12th.
Right.
Huh. We got to figure out what time. Do you have that? That's a Friday, and the following Tuesday is the SCOTUS, the Fisher v. U.S. SCOTUS decision on 1512C.
Is that the decision or argument day?
Well, it's the argument. You're right. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, argument.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from
Doug Wyatt.
an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, your current balance is $34.41. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hello.
Hello, Doug, how you doing tonight? Doug Wyatt, right?
Yes, this is Tom. Am I saying that right?
That's right, this is Tom.
Good evening, sir. Yeah, my name is Doug Wyatt. I reside in Maryland, Harford County, and my number is 388263. That's my new ID, at least for the next year, or next 10 months until Donald Trump gets elected. And yeah, man, this is today ends for me. I've been incarcerated since February the 2nd. So I believe that this completes week number 7, and I'll be starting week number 8 tomorrow. So just waiting to get moved. You know, I was told it'd be 6 to 8 weeks, so I could be moved to prison, you know, any day now. So we'll see, man. That's where I'm at in my journey.
Happy belated birthday. I know your birthday was last week.
Yeah, since I turned 51. So from now on, the rest of my life, I'll know, you know, which birthday I enjoyed the least. And I appreciate the cards, man. You know, and on a serious note, I got a lot of cards, a lot of support, a lot of people wrote in. That's a big deal. You know, those people who took time to do that, you know, I can't thank you enough. It means so much.
I sent you a card with a couple of cats on it. I don't know if you remember. This is Cheryl Johnson.
Yeah, I just got that. That was so nice of you. So I'm gonna write you a thank you note. I have your card set aside, in fact. I do appreciate that. Absolutely. But yeah. So right now, I mean, for me personally, I just you know, every day I haven't got to the point to where you know, the days are just flying by. I'm not there yet. You know, I wake up every day and pray and think about my family, and you know, just try to make it through the day. You know, I walk and walk and walk and walk on the top tier just to keep my mind occupied. Read the Bible. Just try to stay as fit as I can, both mentally and physically. You know, I know that this nightmare is going to come to an end, and it's not just for me. I mean, it's for everybody in this pod, all the others that have come before me in this pod, and for America in general. I mean, we're hurting. I mean, we're just hurting. I mean, you know, you see the news. That's the other thing. We watch this news in here, this liberal news, and it's depressing, man. I mean, it's depressing and just misleading and full of lies. So, you know, I hope that we have a generally optimistic, you know, mega kind of attitude out there. Is that how we're feeling? How do we feel out in northern there?
Well, I tell you what, it feels like there's a lot that's wrong right now, but there's a lot that I think we're going to change. And part of the problem is you guys are unfortunately in the furnace right now as we're going through this, as you're going through this, in order to get the rest of the country to the place where they see how wrongly we can treat the citizens in this country.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, do you have a sense of you know, Donald Trump is getting some support, you know, where you wouldn't expect it? Do you get a sense of, I'm a never Trumper? I mean, what's the general feel on the street?
This is Maurice. It's an interesting topic, actually. In many cases, I'm actually seeing people who traditionally vote on the left looking at things and going, can't do that anymore. And they look at their choice and they're saying, wouldn't have done this 4 years ago. But so there's some of that. There's those that are still resisting, and I think a lot of those, I bumped into one just yesterday. I had a doctor's appointment, and the particular medical person that I was working with had a kind of an attitude of, well, I've got an education and I know better, so this is the way it's going to be. But down here at ground level, where normal people live, I am seeing a lot of folks kind of waking up. And I'm also seeing a lot of folks that used to be very verbal against the right, for lack of a better term. They've gone quiet, which to me shows movement. And so I'm encouraged, seeing things on the ground that are kind of shifting. Well, they're not shifting a little bit. I think, to put it more bluntly, they're shifting bigly.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I heard Jesse Waters today on the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton. I think I'm saying that right. I get that station here, and he was just saying that when they did a man on the street in New York City, you know, they can't find a Biden supporter, an African American Biden supporter, is how he put it. He said he couldn't find them in New York. They're just gone. They've left. They're done with Biden. So, you know, that was encouraging, and, you know, I get little nuggets of encouraging news. You know, if you watch the news long enough, you can start to see, you know, like the cracks in their story. You know, they just run hit pieces after hit piece after hit piece. And that lets you know that the man is gaining some traction. At least that's what I think I see. I hope I'm right. But a couple things, and anybody who's listening to this, just remember, you know, you got to get involved. You know, it's easy to get involved when you live in a red area. Those areas are easy to get involved in. But if you live in an area that's split 50-50 or a predominantly Democrat area and you're Republican in them areas, man, so much is on your shoulders right now because this is where the fraud takes place. And, you know, a lot of this stuff has been set in cement, like the mail-in ballots. That's the problem, man. The mail-in ballots, it's a huge problem. Early voting. Who's policing, you know, these drop boxes? How do you get involved? You got to call your RNC. What can you do personally? How can there's probably some training involved with that. It's probably quite a commitment. But in my view, we are the majority that are being ruled over by a tyrannical, radical minority. And it's got to stop. It's the makers versus the takers. You see, we're the makers. We're the blue-collar people with the dirt under our fingernails. And they're the takers, you know, that are looking down their nose at us like they're so much better than us. They're so much better than us that it's okay for them to cheat to avoid someone like Donald Trump getting into office. That ship has sailed. It's got to stop, man. This country is in just absolutely poor condition. And whoever said it earlier, you're right. And I know I've said this on this Northern Neck before. This is the difference between us and them. You see, if Donald Trump was a president, and, you know, he told the FBI, hey, man, go kick in the doors of all these Black Lives Matter Antifa. Let's go ahead and just ruin their names, ruin their families, put them all over the internet. Oh, no, sir. I would stand with those others against that tyranny because while I disagree with what you say, I'm going to defend your right to say it. That's freedom. And what they've done to us is insane. It's absolutely insane. And again, just to drive the point home, I didn't go to an insurrection. That's not what I RSVP to. I RSVP to a rally. That's what I went to, a permitted rally. All the stuff that you've seen there, I didn't know that was happening. I'm just going to a rally with permits. I'm thinking the president is joining us from after the speech at the Capitol. I see bike racks. I've never seen a bike rack and thought, oh my God, I can't go past that bike rack. That's called 6-foot-tall interlocking fencing. That's what you put on to say you can't go here. And by the way, what did it get me to leave? All that chaos I saw that day, what did it get me to leave? A text message. That's what it got me to leave. My, silver alert. Now you get them on your phone, like the silver alert or national weather emergency or whatever. You get them, them group texts. I got one of them. Oh my God, I got to leave at a certain time or I'll be trespassing. I simply left. That's all it took. So, you know, the narrative, I hope that it switches one day, the truth comes out, the bad actors in the crowd, we know they were there, Clay Higgins knows they were there, you know, they need to be exposed, and hopefully we can turn this thing around because, man, I gotta tell you, I just want to get home to my family, man, I miss them so much. You know, my son's in jail, you know, my stepson, you know, he got 40 months, and, you know, he has a newborn son, you know, his son will turn 1 just in a couple days, and he was 1 month when Jacob went to jail. So it'll just be a glorious day, man, to be released with them and go home, man, and just put this part of my life in behind me. And I know that when I go home, I think Donald Trump is the president, and just maybe, you know, we can turn this thing around. Because right now, it don't look good.
It's definitely a mess out there. But I have to make the point that a lot of it appears to be either you know, you were mentioning the news earlier, and a lot of times I kind of see the news making comments and reporting stories that actually never happened. And so that kind of enhances what other people believe. You know, I've got family members that watch ABC, CNN religiously, and they will not entertain the notion of a different source of information. And so there's that component to it. And it's hard. It's really hard, but I do see people waking up, as I mentioned.
I saw this week on the floor of the House of Representatives when Attorney Bobulinski was there. There was some Democrat congressperson still pushing the Russia hose. She had a picture of Vladimir Putin with an arrow, then Donald Trump. Then so I said, "You gotta be kidding me!" It's like they just won't stop, man. It's just like this thing has been disproven 6 ways from Sunday, and yet they're still pushing it. And then, you know, maybe you guys can enlighten me. Like, I don't know what's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene and Mike Johnson. It's just, you know, maybe she's 100% right. Maybe the guy did break some promises, but, you know, is this the right time for that battle? I don't know, man.
I don't think it is. I think, you know, when you've got a one vote majority, you don't start rocking apple carts. You just don't. That doesn't work out well.
Well, she rocked it today, so I'm gonna try to dig around on the limited news I have and just try to understand, you know, what the implications are. But I'm pretty sure that means that right now we have no Speaker of the House. And what bothers me about this is, like, I think that they're starting to release the tapes. I think that they are the recordings. I'm pretty sure that they have promised, you know, 5,000 hours a week, 8 weeks, 40,000 hours. These things are important to make public. They got to be made public, and then the people got to dig through them. Is that still going on, or what's going on with that?
Right. And I'm pretty sure that, and I don't believe that they've put them all out yet, but the American people are looking. Guaranteed.
Right, gotcha. Hopefully, you know, hopefully this stuff comes out, man, because, you know, it's just not right. It's just not right that, you know, like I said, if all those people that were undercover in plain clothes that day would have just stopped trying to set people up and said, hey, let me go ahead and help out, you know, my fellow police officer here. Let me just help out. Let me get a blow horn. Let me, you know, tell people they're trespassing. You're not allowed to be here. This is you got to be over in this zone. There's that zone. That's all it would have taken. That's all it would have taken. And, you know, if somebody would have simply said, hey, you know, you're trespassing and subject to arrest, you got to be over there, or you got to be over there. I'd have left. Nobody said that. The whole time I'm thinking, why are these cops attacking everybody? You know, we're allowed to be here. This is a permanent event. It just made no sense to me. And this is on the heels of 5 years of protest. I saw 5 years of protest where the theme was, we got to let these people protest. We got to let these people protest. All of a sudden, oh, man. It was an attack, man. I mean, I know what I saw that day. So, you know, it's a shame. I feel for those officers. I feel for those people. You know, them officers shouldn't have been put in that position either. I get it. I empathize with them. But, yeah, man, it's just a bad thing. And, you know, hopefully it's just a bad memory, you know, sooner rather than later. Like I say, I'm open January 25th or 26th or however long it takes to get the paperwork done. I want to go home, man. I want to see my daughter. I want to see my wife. I miss her so much.
Well, listen, what Maurice just said about how things are changing. One thing I want to tell you is, on these live streams, I watched the comments that people make as we're putting these on, as you guys are speaking.
You have 1 minute remaining.
And I believe that's spreading, Doug. I believe it's spreading far and wide. People are getting the word out, so keep the faith on that.
I'm going to keep the faith, man. I just think that, you know, there's a yin and a yang in life. And I think that right now we're so upside down that it's got to turn around. It's got to turn around. You know, and again, it's not just for me, it's for the whole country. You know, let's turn this thing around and just get involved. You know, if you're listening to this, you know, call the RNC, get involved. And, hey, Northern Next Patriots, thank you so much for just being involved and everything you do. God bless, guys.
God bless you too. Thanks so much. Good night.
You take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Global Towing.
So his question on the video releases, I'm not sure how that's working other than I know
a lot of people are going through those things because we keep seeing these things pop up about recognition of the people that he's speaking of that were, sort of undercover and instigating things. So that's part of the reason why they didn't want to release that, because that's going to come out very, very quickly.
Right, and then I recall that there was hesitation releasing some because it was going to expose some people. I don't care.
Hello, this is a prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up or press 1. Your current balance is $32.71. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello, this is Northern.
Hello. Hey, Tom. How are you?
James?
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we could. James Grant. Thank you, man. No, we didn't get the word who it was, but glad to hear your voice.
Yeah, this is James Grant. A little loud out here. I'm going to go back to my cell. But, I hope you guys aren't too cold out there.
Oh, no, I gotta break it to you. We went indoors for a little bit of the cold weather here, so we wimped out a little bit, but we figured that was working.
No worries. I want you guys to be comfortable. But, I'm a little cold myself. I'm having a little bit of an adrenal response here. Someone said that, I don't know if it's misinformation or what happened, but someone said that Trump tweeted about the vigil or something like that. And now we're hearing word that he didn't tweet about it. But, as soon as I heard that, I had just a straight adrenaline response, and I started freaking out. And, my hands are cold because all my blood went to my body. And it's just crazy. It's just crazy what we're all caught up in. And I never thought it would happen. I never thought I would spend over 2 years in jail, which I think we did the math last time. It's like 7-8% of my life in jail. And I don't know. I could never fathom it. I didn't think. I thought I would have to do something deliberately to end up in jail for years. So it's really weird that I didn't end up in jail. It's a frustrating thing is that we'll go to court, to take us to court with other inmates. They kind of split us up. So there's a little stupid grate and they take us in a van and they have the other inmates in the back of the van. And it's just so frustrating because they'll, what are you here for? And they're here for selling fentanyl or, shooting at someone else. One of the guys, and this is a true story, on the way to court, I shot someone else. They found my blood in the car. They got in a shootout. And these people, he's like, I'm hoping I get a year or 6 months, I think he said. I forget what he said. It was some absurd amount. And it's just these people knew what it's just so frustrating because it's we all really went to a political protest and didn't, endeavor to do anything illegal. And, it's just crazy that we're in this situation facing years. Just years. And it just keeps getting worse because, in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, really in the beginning, everyone was condemning us except, and people are saying Tucker Carlson did. I don't really remember, but to my memory, he was one of the people that didn't condemn us super hard. But the time that we're facing has just gotten worse and worse. And I still remember it was 2022, July 7th, when my lawyer told me that I would be facing, I think, 87 to 108 months. It was a plea deal I was extended. And I just remember, I had kind of been numb to it. I was at lovely Northern Neck, and I never talked to my lawyer at Northern Neck. It was a nightmare there. And I just still remember him telling me I was facing that kind of time, and that was the first time I was kind of jarred out of it. And just the situation's gotten worse and worse. And I'm getting an alert on here. This is not my tablet. I'm getting an alert that I may be logged off in 2 minutes. On my own, I guess if that happens, Tom. But it's just crazy. And I feel like they've gotten more and more time out of J6ers. And I don't know. I think I'm a very good judge. I think you agree on that, Tom. But, some of these prosecutors, I think they take this so personally. And I just don't understand where the visceral hate comes from to look at me, a kid who went to the Capitol, was not really violent at all, and, who pushed the fence, and otherwise was a good kid, was going to law school. And where do they get the absolute hate for us to ask for 8 to 10 years? Like, I don't know how you could, and if you got it, I'd like to think my judge is a very kind person and understands the January 6th, really. But I'd like to think that, that wouldn't happen, but I just wonder, what if I got that kind of time? I mean, I don't know how you could sleep at night doing that. And it just comes down to the fact that
Uh-oh.
Just hold tight, he might still be there.
Did you leave us? He said he only had 2 minutes and then it was gonna go off.
But let me take a look. It's still on, so the call is still, the ticker is still going. Well,
Anyway,
Can't call back.
I was gonna ask him, last night he said that, they gotta go for the March Madness basketball tournament, so, they're on.
yeah,
That's about it.
James Grant told us last night that the March Madness basketball tournament is a go. So they are going to be playing against the other pods. So he was all excited about that. So I was going to ask him to explain it, but I guess he got cut off.
Yeah, he was all excited.
So the post that he referenced, I actually received it earlier from Mickey. It's a post from Donald J. Trump, at Real Donald Trump, 3 hours ago, or 3 hours ago plus whatever.
It's 5 hours now.
5 hours, all right. And I was kind of confused because it's the flyer that Mickey and Nicole and Tammy and everybody else passes out it's a flyer for the Freedom Corner Vigils. Donald Trump posted that out on his very own. Is it Truth Social?
Yeah. It's on Truth Social 5 hours ago.
here, oh, well, you got one.
Yeah, Truth Social, 5 hours ago, Trump posts the 600th day of their nightly vigil outside the DC jail from Mickey Withoff, and it's talking about basically how this thing operates.
Yeah, that's their flyer. They've been using that since before CPAC. They had those made up.
And so this looks like an attempt for our president to get the word out to more people, because I guarantee you there's millions and millions of people that see these posts from Trump that may not already be aware that there's several streams from the DC jail every night. It's amazing the strength that those people have. So I think this is going to end up being a huge boost for the DC vigil, and this is awesome.
Perfect. Thanks for explaining that, and I think a boost for that, yeah, for every single one of them. If he's putting that out there to let people know, then that's a really great thing.
Prepaid call from Jonathan Pollock.
Oh, John.
An inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. Your current balance is $32.03. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Hello.
Hello, how's everybody doing?
You got Johnny Fog and Super Todd.
All
How are you
right.
Patriots doing tonight?
Hey, we're doing fantastic. Even better now that you called us.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
Hopefully you haven't dealt with too many turkey heads out there.
Yeah, you just
Dealing with a turkey head.
Bah, bah.
Shopping with Mom.
So, that's awesome.
You got anything for him?
No, no.
So what's news inside there? What's going on? What's on your mind tonight?
Somebody cool out there sent a care package in today of a bunch of food to me and one of the new guys, Ed. That was pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure they gave me stuff that I was missing from other orders because I got a stupid amount of food today.
Wow.
Yeah, either that or I just went on a junk special and got a lot of stuff. Junk special.
You don't remember because you ordered it a week ago, right? Is that what you mean?
Absolutely. Like my wingspan only goes from yesterday to today, and that's really.
And even that sketchy.
I don't trust my brain for nothing.
Man, don't trust the brain. Yeah, we had a lot of good patriots come in and visit us today. It was awesome seeing them.
They had my aunt today.
Yep, John Todd saw his aunt today, family. It was really nice seeing them.
Everybody got to laugh because we both struggled to touch the floor with our feet. So we just both looked like kids dangling on the street.
The camels were swinging their legs, couldn't touch the ground.
We needed help jumping out of the seat so we didn't go splat.
Crazy. But, yeah, they had a lot of good, encouraging news. They had here in the corner visual 600 days straight. They're celebrating tomorrow. And I guess Donald Trump had tweeted in, congratulating them.
Yep.
So that was pretty neat, pretty exciting stuff. All the different things that people are looking and seeing what's really going on, and letting us know that they're thinking about it, which is pretty special.
We had a commissary lady come in today, so we might be getting some more stuff added to the commissary, like different meats and stuff instead of all the fish, because it's starting to smell a little wonky around here when people use the microwave. And then the marshals came by today.
Yeah.
Marshals came by.
They granted us with their super presents.
They did. These marshals come in, and they're walking into a jail, and then they got top suits on. They got the 5 buttons. I mean, looking spicy, son. Looking
Their shoes look like real, Capitol Hill shoes, brother.
These guys walked in like they were going to meet the president or something.
You would have thought that.
Not our president, because our president, not the current president, because
that guy,
he wouldn't have
black job.
he wouldn't have a clue where he's at anyway. But if they were going to meet Donald Trump, they would dress like that.
Yeah,
that's how they would dress.
If I was going to dress like the president for the president that we have now, I would dress like a staircase.
Nice. He tripping the man off.
Bad grandpa's how you dress for that.
Was that bad grandpa?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
That grandpa even had like was it Robert De Niro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you talked to.
So, y'all familiar with Bad Grandpa?
Now is that the one with Johnny Knoxville, or is that the
Yeah,
one with Robert De Niro?
That's the one with Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
see
way
that
you
one.
dress. That's the way you dress if you're going to visit the guy that's sitting in the White House.
Yeah, or he dressed as a mental hospital like nurse, and then he's gonna go around and going, no,
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. Many
you don't get to thank me.
That's right. So that's kind of what went through my head when y'all were talking about how you dress if you're a marshal and you're going to go visit the president.
Yeah, no, that's it.
So,
Yeah, but these guys, they were looking right. They were looking fresh, fancy, fresh. I would talk to them, which I appreciate that. You know, marshals, they were coming to see us, and you can tell, you know, they wanted to dress up for us. Were they coming to see us, or were they coming to spy? You never know. You never know. These government guys, they're always trying to get theirs. You know, not a bit spying.
did y'all get the opportunity to talk to him?
I try to avoid marshals at all costs after, you know, they shackled me up the last few times.
We had quite a few, like Cracklin and a couple other ones that they had, the book of grievances and things they were writing up and
looking like they were coming out of their cell with a step stool trying to reach the cereal out of the top shelf.
I mean, they let them have it, so that was good. They knew what they were doing.
They're making it better for other people. I can definitely say that's something to commend. And then you got me. I don't write nothing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I just kick doors.
I think it's more than interesting that the marshals happen to show up and just, out of all the folks that are staying in that hotel that you guys are staying in, they picked a few of the J6 prisoners to go talk to. That by itself
that's what I'm saying. It's, you know, they're shining a bigger light on us out here, and just people are waking up to seeing how messed up our situation is and how unjust, you know, our justice system is. And I think they're seeing it now, and they have to put on a good face because they know they're not going to be here long.
You know, they're just trying to keep us in here until the inauguration day, and then they'll go, okay, let them out.
They just,
yeah, that's about
you know,
right.
I think
they're not going to like me on my thing, because that's what I'm going to say. This is a sham.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. But, you know.
Judge L, if you play this in court, kudos to you.
No, and that's it. And that's what's going to change this country. You know, a lot of people out here are constantly trying to put it all on one man, and that's Donald Trump, and say he's going to save this whole country. But the thing is the people are going to have to rise up. The people are going to have to get their head out of the sand and grow a backbone and actually stand up for what they believe
That's a fact.
and stand behind it. Because he can't do it on his own. And I think the American people are waking up to the injustice, just seeing, you know, getting their head out of the sand and seeing what's really going on.
I feel like the American people are like the little bird off Moana, the chicken, where he just keeps pecking at the rock. Yeah.
That's it. No, but that's it. The American people's gotta stand behind him and lift him up, and that's what y'all are doing. That's what I, you know, thank y'all so much for having these, you know, visuals and things that people can hear and just shining a light on what we're going through in here. I think my situation, you know, I haven't been through near as much as some of these other guys. They've lost everything, and you know, for a lot of years, all they ever saw was how big of a you know, disappointment and just, you know, look like the biggest terrorist that ever lived. And now people are starting to wake up to it and realize that they were, you know, set up in most cases.
Like all the undercovers they had in that crowd that day, going from Secret Service on down.
I believe it's definitely awesome to see. You know,
and we're starting to, the basic facts are coming out too, that you know, people still believe that police officers were killed on January 6th, you know, that somehow or other, that, and they just, those things are finally coming out, and I think that's making a big difference.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if you know a guy named Hank Munster who had a trial right around the same time I did. Well, we both had officers that were on the west stairs entrance, the center entrance behind the stairs, who testified in both of our cases. Two different officers, same location, next to each other, and they talked to each other, and they both told different stories about why they let us in and everything, and walked away from the door.
So, I mean, that's something pretty cool that we were able to find out that, you know, they're just still telling lies just to try and bury people these days.
Right,
They're
right.
not even good lies.
You know, and they'll never see a day of time in prison either for their perjury, like, you know, they threaten us with, so.
One guy's like, yeah, man, well, to be honest with you, my shift was over and I was ready to go home. So I just let everybody in and was hoping for the best, you know? Just letting second shifts take over, but then it
You
turned
know,
out
my
right.
12 hours for the day was up. It's somebody else's problem.
Just packing up and let everybody in.
Those guys do need to stand for what they did, for their perjury. Officer Dunn, and then this officer, or Lazarus was his last name, who backed up Dunn's testimony that they got, basically surrounded by a mob of angry racists, which was all a made-up, fabricated thing. So both of them perjured themselves, and that's been proven. So I'm sorry, but these people will have to stand in front of a judge, an honest judge, and honestly face what they did wrong.
Also, I love to throw the tricks right on top of Noah Rathburn, too, for lying, saying that I was the reason the stick broke, and that's why I got a 111A and B. Is because this man broke the stick in half in between his hands and, lost the glove, so he got a few stitches from his owie. And it said that he never broke the stick because the prosecution pretty much told him to lie. So, but, his day in court will come too.
Yeah.
Probably not, but, I'll do everything in my power to get him.
Well, that's
Held responsible.
and that's what's part of the what's going on. I think when you get caught in a lie, what do? A lot of people, you double down.
You double down.
Double down.
Exactly.
Stupid is, stupid does.
Yeah.
Gnarly.
So is that that's a wise quote from
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. There he is.
I'm always said life was like the box of chocolate. You never know what it's going to get.
Uh-huh.
Now,
Yeah.
crazy. Well,
I'm waiting for the run, Forrest, run. Those people, exactly. So, eventually the tables are gonna turn and the jailers are gonna become the jailees. So how's that gonna work for them?
they're gonna be like, I love you, Jenny. Please let us out. Let us out. We didn't mean it. I promise. We were just funning about. Can you feed us something different than what we fed you? Yeah.
Run, Biden, run.
It's gonna be glorious.
Run, Biden, run.
The beautiful part
Run,
is
I didn't run.
nobody's
Oh,
gonna
man,
be
that old boy.
nobody's
That
gonna
man
be
ain't a
holding the
walker
vigil
when
for
he
him.
runs. Yeah, no, that's it. You surround yourself with evil people that are constantly trying to get ahead of each other to starve them for that power.
Hey,
When you're going to be running, one day you're going to find yourself alone, and no one's going to be with you.
Hunter's going to be trying to run away from him just so he don't get caught up with his dad in the same cell because he wouldn't want to share the showers with him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They're all gonna have a best friend named Bubba.
Yeah. That's it.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, my goodness.
I wish them well, and I really.
You have 1 minute remaining.
But you have to stand for your actions in this world, I believe. So, hey.
Yeah.
we're
No,
almost-
that's it.
Yeah. What else you want to say? We got a
That's
minute
it.
left.
No, that's exactly right. At the end of the day, there's no looking at other people and saying they made me do it. It's your life,
I did what I did because I wanted a better future for my son and his son.
Yeah, it's your actions that count. And one day, when your time's up, you want to be able to go down with a clear conscience, knowing that you stood for what was right,
Right.
and you're unashamed of it. And
Government trained me to do what was right and stand for it, and now they want to use it against me because I do what they trained me to do.
Yeah. But all right, thank y'all again for everything. being out there, shining a light on everybody in here.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
God bless you. Al. Have a good
Bye.
Thank you, Bill.
Bye.
Thank you for using.
Love those guys.
Who was it again?
That was John and John.
John, what are the last names?
Pollard
John Pollock
and-
and John Todd.
Todd.
Oh, I got confused with the Todd. All right.
So John Pollock and John Todd.
Yeah, Super Todd.
We are sentencing May 10th.
Who does?
Super Todd,
John Todd has sentencing when?
May 10th.
May 10th.
You know if anybody's got a map of the cameras?
I'm
There's a
sure
whole-
they do. They would have to.
I gotta see how many hours are posted on Rumble yet. They said it'd be a while before they were all there. Supposedly Rumble's gonna have it.
You could have that, but that's just for you personally.
Okay, thanks.
That's yours, I think. Well, while we're waiting, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's tuning in. Really appreciated some of the comments. This was, I think Kathy, I can't really see it much very well anymore, but thank you all for what you do. She says, I'm addicted to Freedom Corner, so I'm going to go over there, but I'll be back. And I love, you guys are full of information. We love hearing from the men. It's a very nice comment. So hey everybody, I don't do the whole thing like Stormtrooper does and call everybody out, but just again, thank you folks for tuning in and being here with us tonight. And please spread this around. It's so easy. These are easy just to take a link and send it to your networks, and I try to do that as much as I can. Hey, there's Gina at the end, and Scotty, and that's my dad. I tell you what, I'm really glad you got to hear him. So again, everybody, thank you for being here with us, and give a prayer for every one of these men and their families. Something else I wanted to do, but I think it was pretty good so far. If you get to call in at the end, that'd be great.
You know, I didn't even know about that post from Trump before we got here. So these guys, they know stuff that we don't know. I guess they've got a lot of time on their hands.
Well, they heard it.
So they heard it, right?
It was something like they heard it and
They don't have access to the internet.
It was Doug, I think, that said that, right?
yeah.
Yeah, so I do wonder that too I mean, it's got to be through their tablets and their communication that's going around. It's a little bit that gets to them. Do you do any of that texting to the tablets and kind of stuff?
Not to the tablets. No.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of impressive because, and to me, Trump posting about it is kind of significant because I think it's the first thing that he's done online. I think he's mentioned it a few times in rallies, but actually more than a few times. But online, posting about it with information and how to observe it, that's a big deal right there. That's a really big deal. I mean, I remember when we went to the South Carolina rally, he mentioned, the 9 o'clock hour and the ladies that were going to all of his rallies. But that's different than posting online with information and how to get there. So it's kind of a thing, and I hope it bears fruit.
I got to take a screenshot of that so I could send it to the guys. They'll be happy to see that.
I don't think it.
We should, do you have all of the different live streams that are in DC at Freedom Corner? Because I don't see it on here, Maurice. It tells about the every
It
night,
says it's every night. And
but it doesn't say where to go to live streams or anything
Oh,
there.
no, it doesn't, I guess.
So that's something we could probably help to share.
Mhm.
Prepaid call from an inmate at the Washington, D.C. Central Detention Facility. To accept this call, press 0. To refuse this call, hang up. Your current balance is $30.32. This call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using Global Tel-Link.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, who we got? This is Tom.
Hey, Tom, how you doing tonight? This is David Dempsey.
Hey, David. Doing good. Doing
I
good.
don't think I've ever called this vigil.
I don't believe we've talked before. No. So we're out in Northern Neck. You didn't spend any time here, did you?
Sorry, Quagga was telling me something. No, I fortunately did not have to spend time in Northern Neck, but I unfortunately am familiar with that type of jail setting because when I've gotten in trouble in my past, I've gone to Los Angeles County Jail, which is like Northern Neck on steroids. So I know the pain of what those guys talk about, the dorm living, the decrepit living situation, just the dirty violence, the corruption amongst the staff and stuff like that. So they even indicted the main sheriff of our county jail, Sheriff Leroy Tabaka, and his undersheriff and stuff. So for negligence and abuse and all types of other stuff, but familiar with that type of stuff. I hear the horror stories about that place, and I'm really blessed that I didn't have to go through that again. And I feel bad for all the fellows who went through that and never experienced anything like that and have to go through that crap. That are there, like there's still J6s that are there.
Not that we know of, but we know that some slip through there every now and again. I think two of the guys that left a few weeks ago spent a night there, but not that we know of. But what you said is absolutely true. We've got to shine light on the conditions in these jails, in the county jails, and they just run under their own set of rules. It feels like.
Oh, that is 100%, without a shadow of a doubt. They those places have been ran with an iron fist, wrapped in barbed wire for decades. It has been, like I said, they run these things, with absolutely zero intentions of rehabilitating anyone or doing anything beneficial for the people that go in there, because when you go in there, you're considered less than human. That's just not beat around the bush. They treat you like you're subhuman. You're not given any sort of respect. They dehumanize you in a multitude of different ways, and it's really damaging to one's psyche and your emotional and mental well-being. To go through that. Humans, shouldn't have to, deal with that type of stuff. I understand that people make mistakes and they go to jail, and, there's people that, suffer for what they've done, by being deprived of, the basic amenities of, things like freedom and family and friends and things like that. But to go above and beyond the way that some facilities do, it's just, it defies logic. It's disgusting, and it's something that, like you said, needs to be stopped. And I think what you guys are doing, it's awesome. Like I tell the ladies that are always out here at our vigil, I think it's kick-ass that you guys do what you do. I think it takes a lot, to get out there and to shed a light on this stuff. But as long as you guys are doing that, you know, we're always going to lend our voices and our support to, you know, shining the light on what's going on. And I think it's unfortunate that J6ers had to go through there in order to really show what's really going on, you know, in these places. Because people, I tell you, people drive by and they see those places and they don't even think nothing of it. But when you've got a friend or a family member that's gone through there and you drive through those places, you know, there's like so many different, you know, feelings that are invoked, you know, when you see these facilities. And then, like, if you've been there, it's like a sense of dread when you go by there. Like, every time I go by LA County Jail, I'm like, all I tell myself is, oh my God, I'm so glad I'm not there anymore. Like, that place is so terrible. And, you know, it's no different, you know, in any other place. Like you said, it's just a messed up situation all the way around.
Well, David,
Oh, hey, Bud.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick, I didn't mean to interrupt. So Trump truthed out to check out the vigils tonight. So there should be more people than usual that are checking out our vigils and listening in and tuning in. So he made remarks about how long the one out here has been going on, and then to tune into the vigils that are happening and stuff. So Trump was just truthing that out tonight.
Yeah, that's fantastic. We just kind of realized that here in the middle of the vigil. We've both gotten some texts on it, but yeah, that's fantastic. I'm so glad he's taken an active interest. I know he has been interested, but it's nice to see him actually reaching out directly. It's tremendous.
Yeah, you know, that guy. I love Trump. I know there's other people that like Trump. I'm one of the guys. You know, I freaking love him. I think the world of Trump. You know, and you know, I think that, you know, he put power to words. Oh, by the way, we're going to be doing the vigil in 3 minutes here. So you guys will be joining me for the vigil. Yeah. So just heads up.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah. So how long you been in DC, David?
I've been here going on pretty much 3 years. I've been here since 21, whole time.
Wow.
And I got my sentencing is coming up, and I lucked out that towards the end of this little rodeo here that I got a pretty awesome lawyer who's fighting for me. She's a really stand-up person, really caring person, and you know, a lot of times the lawyers are either you know liberal hacks or Republican grifters, and I fortunately have neither one of those, and I have someone who's interested in making sure that that true justice is served, and I'm facing a little bit more time than everybody else, but that's just because of, like I said, my checkered past. So my offer is 11 to 14 years, and then if they give me some stupid enhancement that they're trying to give me, it'll go up to 18 to 22. Obviously, I'm hoping that doesn't happen. Right. But but I'm surrounded by good men, and I'm able to breathe easy knowing that I'm around a bunch of patriots, and it's always nice being able to talk to fellow patriots such as yourself, especially the ones who are out there that show us the support and everything, because I think it's imperative that people get to know the real us and our supporters and stuff, so we can get the truth out there to the mainstream media. So we're going to be starting the vigil here. Excuse me, hold on. What's every day. They say it's cultish, and I say it's just called being patriotic.
It is.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So are you guys all Pennsylvania natives?
No, I am actually, but we've got some
California, New York.
California and New York here
New York,
tonight.
Queens, New York,
Queens, New York.
just like
Yeah.
Trump.
How about?
Oh wow. Okay. Hey, to my fellow California, native out there. I'm from LA, in San Fernando Valley, Southern California, and and then to the New York Patriot that's in Queens. I'm sorry that you got to deal with.
Yeah, that's my wife. She took me to New York. She took me to New York one time. I swear to God, I don't want to go back ever. Ever.
And it's crazy because it's a damn shame too, because California and New York are both beautiful places that have so much to offer, and they've just gotten taken over by the liberal cesspool, and there's so much that those states offer in relation to what our country is.
I tell everybody.
It's just.
I tell everybody, California's the most gorgeous piece of real estate ever created. It's too bad the people had to screw it up.
Yeah, man, oh man, and living in LA County, my brother tells me there's so much, California doesn't really get on the news too much about the illegal immigration problem, but it's a super heavy influx that goes into California, and my brother says now there's in residential neighborhoods and not even the big city and like in suburban